Round of applause for Belfast's very own Eamonn Holmes.
Thank you very much. Well, where do we start?
I normally start. So,
James, thanks. Where are you from in Australia? Brisbane. Well, that's where they shoot. That's where they do I'm a Celebrity.
Next year, when your career goes even further.
I'm too close to that.
James, if you could head on now, mate, that'd be cool. Eamonn's
What
text
do
me and all.
you do in Australia, James? Were you exported? You convict? Or? Do you have a job there?
Eamonn's, I have to say, very.
Do you want me to take on Mike and me and No.
Let me tell you about James's sister. So we are, James, and shut up. Eamonn's texting away. Lovely, really nice guy, texts away and all. So I was telling my ma that I was talking. Not if you like her. So I'm talking Eamonn Holmes. I says, I'm interviewing Eamonn Holmes. And she went, who? And I went, Holmesy, my mate. So you're in the phone as Holmesy now, mate, just in case you didn't know. Listen, I have to start on the day that it is. We're not going to be a match. That's why we've taken our time, as you know. Don't want to gloss over the facts of the day, and I want to ask you about your, I suppose, your experience of what has happened to young Jerry, and I suppose if you can tell us a wee bit about what experience you've had, not just in your own personal life, but regarding North Belfast as well.
Well, North Belfast, shocking statistics with suicide, particularly male suicide. And I'm part of an organisation called Care Zone, which is trying to look into why this happens to some people and it doesn't happen to the rest of us. And when you look at the factors, and they are varied and they are complex, but there has to be a pattern that evolves about how we see our purpose in life, if we see we're valid in life and whatever. And there'll be other people in this room, and goodness me, I've had to face this year where Ruth's sister took her own life in June. And it's just like you think, a lot of people think, well, that happens to somebody else. It doesn't happen to you, it doesn't happen to your family. But it happens particularly in North Belfast far too often. And I reflect on my childhood and I think, why was that not me? Why am I not culpable to something like that? And so a lot of it depends on the start you get in life and how lucky you are in life, and if you have direction, and if you've got depending on what your family setup is and whatever. It's very, very complex, as I say. And my life could have been so different, so different. I mean, I am a very, very lucky person, but I do believe the harder you work, the luckier you tend to be. And I said to my mother in 1978, Mum, I've got a place at journalism college, I want to be a journalist. And I'm expecting my mother to say to me, well done, son, well done. No, you're bloody not. She said, you're going out, you're getting a job, and you're bringing a wage into this house. And it just shows you, I was respectful enough of my parents that I listened to my mother and I said, right, I'll do that, stupid enough. And I went and I worked as a trainee manager in Primark. And the funny thing is, what? I worked in there too, bank buildings, yeah. But first of all, I started out in Donegal Place. It's absolutely incredible. And here tonight, Sadie and Mary, who I work with. Sadie may stand up there, just show everybody there. You see, Sadie and Mary Flynn Did we not work together? Yeah. We did. And didn't you have to ask me, could you go to the toilet or not? That was absolutely ridiculous. They haven't changed a bit. You're absolutely fantastic. And those girls, called you girls, you're still girls. It was hard work. It was really, really hard work. And that made me, after the end of my year in Primark, say, "Back this," right? And I reapplied to journalism college. I got in, and I went on to be the top student that year because I really had this fear of going back and getting a real job. And I worked in the College of Business Studies, and I would work 4 or 5 nights a week in the Christian Brothers Past Pupils Union as a barman. And I got a job at TV at 19, incredibly lucky. At 21, I'm the youngest newscaster in Britain, in Europe, in the world, hosting my own programme, Good Evening Ulster. And I would finish at 7 o'clock and I would go and serve pints in the CB at 7:30. And my barman, Pat Thompson, they made me under manager there. The manager, Pat Thompson, came to me one night and he said, "Eamonn, you're reading them, you're serving them up the news. And then half an hour later, you're in here and you're serving them up pints. It's not right." And I said to him, "Pat, this TV lark will not last. It'll not last." And I had a bow tie on, he just pulled it, he said, "It'll last." Boom. And that was my last night in the CB. So I actually used to... Where is May McFettridge in here? Didn't recognise you without all the gear. So basically, that was that, and then 4 years later, I was in Manchester. Yeah.
So, what's your long-standing connection with the Cliftonville Road?
Well, born and bred here. Basically, we were born in New Lodge Road, 1968. Moved to Cliftonville Crescent, which is the family home ever since, and Mum still there. And so this whole circle, everybody, the amount of people we meet and intertwine with us, everybody knows somebody belonging to you here. Paul and Dennis McCune here at this table here. Matter of fact, your father, esteemed GP, Dr. Paul McCune, what an amazing man, now since passed, delivered me in the days when GPs were expected to do lots of things. Their father brought me into the world. And indeed, he stopped me being arrested under the Prevention of Terrorism Act as well. Because, which one were you? Did you both go with us to Manchester? Right, we went to Manchester to see United against Newcastle in 1972, 73. And anyway, so we all arrived. We go on the Liverpool boat, and we head to Liverpool, which unfortunately you've got to do. You've got to hit Liverpool before you go to Manchester. So we got to Liverpool, and we were arrested. And we were arrested because my father had no ID. He had no, like, we wouldn't have had a passport. We wouldn't have something as a passport. We should have had a driving license on him or something. And special branch were there, and they detained us. Well, his father got into play, and I always remember as a 12-year-old standing there, as your dad most eloquently was going, "I have taken the Hippocratic Oath, and you doubt my word as to who this man is," and whatever. It was absolutely incredible. And so you got us out of jail, basically. And we went off to Manchester United, beat Newcastle 2-1, 2-0 or something like that. But I always remember how close we got there. We hadn't even tickets. In those days, we ended up in the Newcastle end, everybody else in the Stratford end. But I always remember there was that picket fence around United in those days. And you were just so close to these players. And it's like, it doesn't matter if you're at Old Trafford or if you're at Solitude. This amazing thing that we can be up close and personal and see these people who are our heroes, because no matter who they are, no matter what team we support or follow, we all as supporters go back to when we were 10 years of age, and as if we all know how to do it. We're all experts, we can all kick it in our head and whatever it is, but we don't happen to do it. And that's the great thing about football. I think it's 2 hours off work, off life, off pressure, off strain. Just, it's fantasy land, isn't it?
I suppose that's the why. The North East has always had this, Newcastle and Sunderland have always had this, and it's something they always say, no matter the struggles that they had through life with the miners and all this.
even though they voted Tory on Thursday, the bastards. But for you mentioned solitude there. What are your memories of solitude? Because I believe that there was a family connection, Cliftonville and the solitude pitch.
Well, it wasn't actually. The only family connection was I had one of my brothers who a lot of lads that I played the football with. My brother Colm. He was pretty decent at some sort of kids or junior level, but he was in some shield or other, and the final was at Solitude, and he was out there warming up. That was good. So my father, stupidly enough, decided, because Dad always used to say, "Oh, I used to play a bit of football. Me and Frank Carson, we all played for the Newsboys. We did this, we did that, whatever." So at 55 years of age, he decides to go out on the pitch and show us, and tears his hamstring. Well, he kicks the ball, literally tears the hamstring. And but my next door neighbour was a man called Billy Patterson, and Billy was I think you call him Jim. Was he a wing back? Was he left? Outside right. And it's funny how the mind plays tricks. I always thought he was left-footed. Maybe he was left-footed on the right wing. Maybe he was. But Billy was our next door neighbour, and you knew him, and he was a good cricketer as well, and whatever. And that was the time around Cliftonville where we're gaining a lot of momentum in the 70s, and then it was a cup win, wasn't it, in 78, 79 or something? 79, yeah.
Nobody remembers it. and we're not hanging on to it either. It's just we haven't won one since, but we don't talk about it.
We're looking for another one this year.
Good, excellent.
That's Paddy McLaughlin down there. It's all on you, Paddy.
Excellent. Well, that's the other good thing. The world becomes a small place. I mean, the cup final a couple of years ago, and there it was on Sky, and I'm able to sit in Surrey and watch, and I'm looking saying, "Oh, why is Jimmy Nesbitt there?" And I wasn't invited, but I'm no bitterness, Sergeant. No bitterness.
Surrey?
But it makes it a long word.
Is that we are, Surrey?
Yeah.
Are you that rich?
And the Surrey branch. Surrey branch of the Manchester United Supporters Club. Yeah.
And Cliftonville Supporters Club. Remember where you are.
But you see, you talk about rich, it's true. I mean, I swear.
Oh, that hurt, didn't it?
I'm
Come back,
picture
100% come
myself
back.
here being in Cliftonville Bowling Club. I mean, you just used to walk by and think, what lies behind those hedges and that kind of gate? And it is incredible to actually be here. Realise it's not that good. It's not Scottish. Don't you report that back.
Grass is amazing.
Grass is lovely. Grass is lovely.
My brother has
And it's
great grass.
December. I like a bit of lawn. And the older I'm getting,
Okay, so you've met Francie. So you were saying there, you have memories of solitude, but the reason you're here today and the reason we have a connection with you is through the Bowl Jim Boyce. So what's your connection with Jim and what's your memories of Jim Boyce?
do you know the way you go somewhere like it's you're sitting on a bus or you go to a theatre or whatever, in my case it's an airplane, and you sit down and you say, "Please God, please make him not sit beside me." No. Jim is one of life's gentlemen, and I'm very, very lucky for us that plane to London and from London is just like a bus. It's like getting on the bus, and your journey was always made shorter. Jim and I ended up sitting together, which was very, very lovely. And he's the most accessible man, and I just look at him and I think the success that he has experienced and the dream that he's experienced from he's a kid at 7 years of age, being ball boy at Cliftonville Football Club, to go on to be chairman, his position with the IFA, his position with FIFA. Absolutely incredible dream that he has. And I think what I love talking to Jim about it is he doesn't begrudge anybody else's success, and he also looks at it. And I think Jim knows, you know, Jim, that it was a dream, is a dream. Very, very lucky, and he's, he just loves it, and you cannot help be happy for him in the journey that he had. So always sitting beside Jim always made the journey go much quicker.
Ever tell you about his watch? No. Listen, the watch was in the garage. The watch was in the garage. I'd like to echo those sentiments and give a huge round of applause to him. Great supporter of this club.
Someday I'll tell you no watch.
Massive round of applause for Jim Boyce. You're 60 last week.
It's hard to believe.
Happy birthday.
Yes, thank you very much.
Happy birthday. And you're 40 years in TV now.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned being in the CB club and the bow tie come off. But what was your big break? How did you get across?
Well, the big break was my journalism lecturer phoning me and saying, Eamonn, you know, when we sat in journalism class, people used to go, what would you like to do? And you know, people are so pretentious. They always go, I'd like to write for the Irish Times. I'd like to write for the Guardian. But they get round to me and I said, I want to be on TV. I was as base as that. And I wanted to be a reporter, I wanted to be on TV. And it's funny, I would say this to any young kid here today. If you don't tell people what you want to be, don't be surprised if you're looked over. You've got to signpost what it is in life you want to be. There's no point saying, you know, I wanted to be the chief barman here, and they give it to someone else, and they say, well, you said, why did you not give it to me? I didn't know you were interested. And the funny thing, my journalism lecturer phoned me, and she said, you always said you wanted to do TV. I said, yeah. And I was working in Dublin at the time, and she said, well, she said, jobs come up at Ulster Television, they're auditioning for an agricultural reporter, a farming reporter. And I said, but Mrs. Fitzpatrick, I know nothing about farming. And she said, rule one of journalism, Eamonn, find out. And so I always found it to be. So whether you're doing an interview about horse racing, Emmerdale, you know,
Manure.
What?
Manure,
whatever it is, you find out about it. You find out about it. And that's an easy enough principle to apply. And I got the job at 19. And you used to think that, you know, everybody's so happy for you, and they're so happy for you. And then you realise as you get older, as you get to my age, you realise they all hated you. and you realise all these agricultural reporters who were in their 30s and 40s, who didn't get the job, who applied for it, and I got it with no experience. There was a difference. I could present TV and they couldn't. That was the difference, really, both of them. And that's why I got the job. And you realise that I went into the most cutthroat, awful business where people just hate each other constantly and no one gives anybody any help. And I sort of break this rule. I used to sit at Ulster Television and Jackie Fullerton sat opposite me. And Jackie just never spoke to me. And he'd sit opposite me and his phone would ring and he'd be smoking and writing and drinking coffee and he'd go, and I lift his phone, and I lift his phone, Mr. Fullerton's phone. And this went on for 6 weeks, and finally one day I said, answer your own fucking phone. And he said, I beg your pardon. And I said, I fucking went through journalism college, whatever. I came here to work, I didn't sit here to be your operator. He said, let me ask you something. And I said, what? He said, if you phoned ITV, would you expect to get through to Dickie Davis? And I said, no. And he said, exactly. And we became the best friends after that. And I watched, and there's very few people I've ever watched and learned from on television. Jackie was one of them, and he was very gracious and generous to me in teaching me techniques and things to do. And I was with them only last week, so we shared a lifelong sort of friendship after that. But I very nearly didn't get the job. I mean, I went into the job and I said, how much are you paying? And the
It's Kirky away there, man.
The producer said to me, £44.44, which was the NUJ rate. And I went, I'm adding up. I wasn't very good at maths. It's at Malachy's College. Matter of fact, I was one of only 2 people that failed O-level maths, not once but twice. So I don't have an O-level maths. It didn't stop me getting a job at Primark though, because it required you to O-level maths, so I just said I had it, and nobody ever checked it. That's another rule in life, kids. I said, how much is that? And he said, £44.44 the NUJ rate. So I'm going 44 is 88, and it's 160, it's under 2,000, it's under 2,000 quid a year. I said, I'm on 3,000 quid, 3,200 of the Ulster Building Report. Who's that? Is there a referee in here? What's that whistle? Is that a whistle? And I said, I said 3,000, that's no good. I said, I'm sorry, that's not enough. And he said, you like sport, don't you? I said, yes. He said, I'll phone the sports department. He's phoned the sports editor and he said, can you give this guy work over the weekend? And the guy said, yes. And he said, right, you've got work over the weekend. I said, how much is that? And he said, same money. So I thought, this isn't good enough. I thought, this is ridiculous. I said, I'm young, but I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to be so keen to work here that I'm working at a loss. That's what I actually thought. So the guy looked at me and he said to me, in all the years I've been doing this job, he smoked a big cigar. His name was Rory Fitzpatrick. He just died this year. A tremendous man. And he said, Bill Holmes, in all the years I've been here, no one has ever turned down a job to come into Ulster Television, not least someone at your age. And I just looked at him and I said, well, it's not enough money. He said, get out. The secretary walked me out and she said,